Hey guys, it's James from South Texas RC and BRB Racing. Today I'm going to do a little bit of a discussion about batteries and just something that's been on my mind with this one pack that I acquired from someone. So they said that this battery pack here was completely trash and they were going to throw it away. They were going to snip the ends and throw this in the garbage bin. And I asked them before they were throwing it in the recycle, I said, well, what's wrong with it? And they said, oh, it puffed up, and my local hobby store told me to just cut the ends off and trash it in the recycle bin. And I'm like, well, can I look at it? And he's like, well, yeah, sure, go ahead. Let me see. And I start feeling of it, and of course it does have a squish to it. You know, you can push down on this plastic, but this is the struggle that I've always had with hard packs. You can't really tell if this thing is swelling or not. Now, I've had hard packs that have swollen up and they destroy the case. That will actually pop it from the seam. So what he was looking at, let me put this down here where you can take a look at it, is that the battery pack itself wobbles back and forth. So it definitely has a high spot in that battery. So now let's take a look at one of mine. Here's the same identical battery, and it's completely flat and flush. So that's where I always say there's a battle between having a soft pack and a hard pack battery. Now this one here is going to be a soft pack battery, and you can tell without a doubt if this battery is going to be swollen or not, because you have just the wrapper on the outside and you can tell by feeling it if it's bad or not. This is a good battery. So one thing I'm going to show you is how to protect the soft pack or repair the hard pack if it gets a tear. This one here is the same identical battery as this, but it got a tear. And what I did is I used heat shrink. Believe it or not, guys, this is heat shrink right here. I was able to acquire this. I got this from a local computer store, Altex. And just wrap it in there, cut it the appropriate length to where you're going to have it where the wires are going to come out. And it also protects the soft pack. So even if you don't have a torn pack and you want to protect the soft pack, you see this took a pretty good sharp blow right here, and it didn't penetrate at all. That's good rubberized coating to put on your soft packs, and without a doubt, even if you wrap them with this to put a good strong rubberized coating, you're still going to be able to tell, hey, is this battery swollen or not? Versus your hard packs, it's very hard to tell. So one thing I'm going to do today is we're going to check the voltage and see where we stand, because I don't think that there's going to be anything wrong with this, because it should be very erratic on the cell balance. I brought it up to 11.7. I've got a 390, I've got a 390 and 3.89. That right there automatically tells me this is a good battery. This battery is not bad. So I'm going to do a repair. I'm going to use a heat gun. But remember, LiPos don't like heat. So you have to be very careful of this process in small spurts and then using something to weight it down. So we're going to find out, is this just a warped case? Is this a swollen battery? We're going to find out. All right, so here we go. Got my heat gun, have the battery. Now, I'm going to advise how to do this is you don't want to make this to the point to where it's so hot that you cannot touch it without burning yourself. If you do it to where you burn yourself, you're gonna have a problem. So let's go ahead and heat this up just a little bit. Okay, take the heat off and push down. And just kind of gradually just keep putting pressure down. Let's do this to the opposite side now. And like I said, guys, do not make this to the point to where it's scalding hot and you cannot touch this. It's kind of going to be about the same temp as when you run your RC motors. You want to be able to put your fingers on it. Of course, it's gonna, I can feel the heat, but the heat's tolerable. So I'm gonna do this about maybe 3-4 times per side, and I'll be right back. All right, guys, I'm back. So went ahead on the top. It did flatten out really super nice. The warp wasn't really all that super bad right there. Still has a little bit in it, but not much. On the back side, has a little tiny hump in the center. So the next step I'm going to do with this, just as solely as an experiment, I'm going to go ahead and heat shrink this to help squeeze down against that plastic and take out any more play that's in there, because there's also, looking at this pack, there's a couple of little cracks in the plastic itself also. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a piece of heat shrink for this, heat shrink it down, and see how it goes. Now, another thing I want to stress, I'm not telling you to take a heat gun to your lipos. I'm just showing you this as a comparison between a soft pack and being able to tell if it's good or bad, and the difficulties of seeing if a battery's swelling in a hard pack. Do not do this at home. If you are going to do this, please do it outside. I'm not telling you to do this though. I'm telling you, if you are going to attempt it though, do it outside. Please have your fire extinguisher right next to you. Anything could go wrong. This is solely an experiment. I want to push this over and over again. If you do not have years experience in doing wild, crazy things like this and know what you're dealing with, this here, you're dealing with a fire bomb. That is right, a fire bomb. You can burn down your entire home. So once again, do not do this, and if you do, do it outdoors, away from everything. I would even suggest have some fire-resistant gloves and an apron on if you don't have that experience. But like I said, guys, I'm not telling you to do this craziness. I'm just showing you. So now what I want to do is I'm going to take the rest of this warp out by doing that heat shrink protection. And then, of course, when you do the heat shrink, write down, label somehow what that battery was. So I'm going to cut the heat shrink and I'll be right back. Okay, so another thing to note too, if you're doing the heat shrink, and like I said, this makes a nice rubberized coating for a soft pack, but like I said, we're doing a hard pack today to catch up if there's any play on that plastic case, plus those little bit of cracks. So as you can see, I went ahead, just I guess a style design to help seal the back a little bit better. I wrapped some tape around it, plus the color tape. I know what milliamp battery this is that's inside of it, my labeling system. But long story short, you see how it's flared here and it's flared over here. So you're going to cut that heat shrink a little bit over the edge and a little bit over the edge to have that bind down shut for your ends. In this case today, I only cut it the length of the battery because it has a sealed end and a seal on the front. So we're not really shooting to protect that. So basically we're just going to slide this battery in. One same thing, we're going to use the heat gun, shrink it down, and then we'll check that and find out if there's any play left in this case. Once again, using the heat gun, but be super careful. Do not get this too hot. Actually, I'm probably gonna, once I do this, I'm gonna throw it here in my freezer and let it cool down. But like I said, don't get this too hot. Once again, you have a miniature bomb in your hand. And it doesn't take all that much to shrink it down, so you're not going to get this thing scalding hot. Remember, it's got to be the same temp as putting your finger on that electric motor. You want it to be tolerable. Anything past that, you're in a danger zone. Alright, and time to let it cool down. I'm going to put it in here with my steak fries. Yes, I know I need to clean the ice out of my freezer. Get it down there and get it nice and cold. Let it cool down, I'll be right back. Alright, now that it's taken a little bit of time to, per se, chill out, look at the top, perfectly flat. Bottom, still warp in that plastic. Now that you can see the heat shrink, you can see where that warp was at right there in the plastic case. It's got a bad spot in the plastic right there, a little bit right there, still wet from being in the freezer. But yeah, there's definitely, that's where the majority of that warp was at. Was, looks like where it was rubbing, it got a little thin, and then from probably impacts and stuff, it messed it up. Squeeze the pack. It's completely solid, no squish, firm, firm, and firm. So this battery pack here, let's go ahead and shoot the numbers on it real quick, just to make sure nothing went awry during the process. And for a bad LiPo, I would be looking for numbers like 11.7 would be 4 point something something, and then 3 point whoa something something like in the 320s, and then maybe a spike like 4.20. A very unbalanced battery. But this battery here is absolutely 100% healthy, perfectly balanced battery. So once again, guys, this was not really to show you how to do some craziness with the battery. It's kind of a comparison of what is the better battery to have in your lineup to tell if you're getting a swelling to that battery. The soft pack, like I said, it's open, transparent. You can see it, you can feel it. It's nice and firm. If it starts to swell, you're definitely going to see it, versus the hard packs. Hard to see if there's a swell. But yeah, guys, this battery here, 100% good. There's nothing wrong with it. Like I said, I highly stress, do not do this craziness at home. I just wanted to show you the difficulties of knowing if a battery swelling between hard pack, at least a slight swell, and a soft pack. And that's about it, guys. Like I said, please don't do this unless you've got years of experience in the hobby and know what you're dealing with, and you're willing to take that risk of doing it, because this is risky. Very risky. Firebomb. So once again, guys, this is James with South Texas RC. Hope you enjoyed the video about the comparison of the hard pack and the soft pack batteries. Everybody bash on, race on. Until next time, I'm out.